Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to our first read aloud via YouTube with me, Miss Thompson, and my two special guests. I have Cooper here. You just saw a good picture of him a second ago when he was sitting up. And our class fish, Martin. Our other two fish are visiting Emma, and so they won't be in any of the videos, but hi to Greta and Malala who are at Emma's house. Okay, so we're going to be reading chapters 1 through 5 of The Wild Robot. If you have your own copy of the book, I know some kids might have a copy at home, then you might want to grab it really quick, pause it, and go grab it. If not, please just follow along. I hope to soon be able to show you the pictures and have a document camera that shows you the words as I read, but I haven't figured that out quite yet. You can expect to see read alouds posted each day at 1 o'clock. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's do this. So as we start a new book, it might be confusing a little at first as we get to know the setting and who our characters are. So hang tight, and if you want to pause it sometimes to think and check in on your comprehension, then go for it. The Wild Robot. Okay, chapter 1 is called The Ocean. Our story begins on the ocean with wind and rain and thunder and lightning and waves. A hurricane roared and raged through the night, and in the middle of the chaos, a cargo ship was sinking. Down, down, down to the ocean floor. The ship left hundreds of crates floating on the surface, but as the hurricane thrashed and swirled and knocked them around, the crates also began sinking into the depths. One after another, they were swallowed up by the waves, and only 5 crates remained. By morning, the hurricane was gone. There were no clouds, no ships, no land in sight. There was only calm. Water and clear skies and those 5 crates lazily bobbing along on ocean current. Days passed, and then a smudge of green appeared on the horizon. As the crates drifted closer, the soft green shapes slowly sharpened into the hard edges of the wild, rocky island. The first crate rode to shore on a tumbling, rumbling wave and crashed against the rocks with such force that the whole thing burst apart. Now, reader, what I haven't mentioned is that tightly packed inside each crate is a brand new robot. The cargo ship had been transporting hundreds of them before it was swept up in the storm. Now, only 5 robots were actually left. Well, only 4 were left, because when that first crate crashed against the rock, the robot inside shattered to pieces. The same thing happened to the next crate. It crashed against the rocks, and robot parts flew everywhere. Then it happened to the next crate, and the next. Robot limbs and torsos were flung onto ledges. A robot head splashed into a tide pool. A robot foot skittered into the waves. And then came the last crate. It followed the same path as the others, but instead of crashing against the rocks, it sloshed against the remains of the first 4 crates. Soon, more waves were heaving it up out of the water. It soared through the air, spinning and glistening until it slammed down onto a tall shelf of rock. The crate was cracked and crumpled, but the robot inside was safe. You can see the box, the crate sitting here on top of the ledge. Chapter 2. The Otters. The island's northern shore had become something of a robot gravesite. Scattered across the rocks were the broken bodies of 4 dead robots. They sparkled in the early morning light, and their sparkles caught the attention of some very curious creatures. You can see them right there. They're pretty cute. A gang of sea otters were romping through the shallows when one of them noticed the sparkling objects. The otters all froze. They raised their noses to the wind, but they smelled only the sea, so they cautiously crept over the rocks to take a closer look. The gang slowly approached a robot torso. The biggest otter stuck out his paw, swatted the heavy thing, and quickly jumped back, but nothing happened. So they wriggled over to a robot hand. Another brave otter stuck out her paw and flipped the hand over. It made a lovely clinking sound on the rocks, and the otters squeaked with delight. They spread out and played with robot arms and legs and feet. More hands were flipped. One of the otters discovered a robot head in a tide pool, and they all dove in and took turns rolling it along the bottom. And then they spotted something else. Overlooking the gravesite was the one surviving crate. that one we saw on top of the lead. Its sides were scraped and dented, and a wide gash ran across its top. The otters scampered up the rocks and climbed onto the big box. 10 furry faces poked through the gash, eager to see what was inside. What they saw was another brand new robot. Okay, I'm smiling because I have a special guest here that just ventured out. And it's Lulu. Lulu, can you say hi? There's my old lady, Lulu. My elderly coworker. She just sleeps all day. Isn't she cute? I love her so much. But anyway, she's joining us now, and she gets kind of grumpy, so she might demand that I stop reading here in a moment. Okay, you got to sit down and raise your hand if you need something, okay? Okay, so the otters just saw a brand new robot. But this robot was different from the others. It was still in one piece, and it was surrounded by spongy packing foam. The otters reached through the gash and tore at the foam. It was so soft and squishy. They squeaked as they snatched at the fluffy stuff. Shreds of it floated away on the sea breeze, and in all the excitement, one of their paws actually slapped an important little button on the back of the robot's head. Click. It took a while for the otters to realize that something was happening inside the crate, but a moment later, they heard it, a low whirring sound. Everyone stopped and stared. Then the robot opened her eyes. Chapter 3, The Robot. Lulu, lay down. The robot's computer brain booted up. Her programs began coming online, and then, still packed in her crate, she automatically started to speak. Okay, I'm going to try to do a robot voice for her, I guess. Hello, I'm Razum, Unit 7134, but you may call me Raz. While my robotic systems are activating, I will tell you about myself. Once fully activated, I will be able to move and communicate and learn. Simply give me a task, and I will complete it. Over time, I will find better ways of completing my tasks. I will become a better robot. When I am not needed, I will stay out of the way and keep myself in good working order. Thank you for your time. I am now fully activated. Chapter 4, The Robot Hatches. As you might know, robots don't really feel emotions, not the way animals do. And yet, as she sat in her crumpled crate, Roz felt something like curiosity, how we feel. She was curious about the warm ball of light shining down from above. So her computer brain went to work, and she identified that the light, it was sun. The robot felt her body absorbing sun's energy. With each passing minute, she felt more awake. When her battery was good and full, Roz looked around and realized she was packed inside a crate. She tried to move her arms, but they were restrained by cords. So she applied more force. The motors in her arms hummed a little louder, and the cords snapped. Then she lifted her hands and pulled the crate apart. Like a hatchling breaking from a shell, Roz climbed out into the world. You see, Lulu? I want to keep going, but I said I would stop at chapter 5. No, I think I said I would read chapter 5. I'm going to read it. Chapter 5. Sorry, if my camera gets shaky, it's because Lulu's tripping into the table. The robot gravesite. The otters were now hiding behind a rock, their round heads nervously poked up, and they watched as a sparkling monster emerged from the crate. The monster slowly turned her head as she scanned the coastline. Her head turned and turned all the way around, and it didn't stop turning until she was looking right at the otters. Hello, otters. My name is Roz. The robot's voice was simply too much for the skittish creatures. The biggest otter squeaked, and the whole gang suddenly took off. They galloped back across the robot gravesite, flopped into the ocean, and raced through the waves just as fast as they could. Roz watched the otters go, but her eyes lingered on the sparkling objects that littered the shore. The objects looked strangely familiar. The robot swung her left leg forward, then her right, and just like that, she was taking her very first steps. She stomped away from her crate and over the rocks and through the gravesite until she was standing above a broken robot body. She leaned in and noticed the word Razum lightly etched on the torso. She noticed the same word on all the torsos, including her own. Roz continued exploring the gravesite until a playful little ocean wave washed over the rocks. She automatically stepped away from it, then a bigger wave sloshed toward her and she stepped away again. And then a gigantic wave crashed over the rocks and engulfed the entire gravesite. Heavy water pounded against her body and knocked her to the ground, and her damaged sensors flared for the first time. A moment later, the wave was gone, and Roz lay there, dripping and dented and surrounded by dead robots. Roz could feel her survival instincts, the part of her computer brain that made her want to avoid danger and take care of herself so she could continue functioning properly. Her instincts were urging her to move away from the ocean. She carefully got to her feet and saw that, high above the shore, the land was bursting with trees and grasses and flowers. It looked lush and safe up there. Looked like a much better place for our robot. She had just one problem. To get up there, she'd have to climb the sea cliffs. So you should have noticed that Roz is starting to awaken as the sun energy seeps into her, and she is noticing feelings like curiosity, and she's picking up on things that are going around. She noticed that all the other torsos said Razum, and that's her name, so she might be curious about that. So next, or tomorrow, you'll have to tune in to find out if she gets up the sea cliffs easily. But that was day one. Go out, have a brain break, get on YouTube, do some yoga, do something. But I see sun outside, so I'm going to be taking this little one for a WALK. So have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow.